morning. It is Tuesday, September 7th at 8:30 a.m. It is my pleasure and honor to open up the Finance and Physical Resources Committee meeting for Kent County. I'd like to welcome fellow commissioners, staff, guests this morning, and the public. Thank you so much for taking the time to come to our Finance and Physical Resources Committee meeting. With that, I'm going to take a motion to pass the consent agenda. Is there a motion to pass the consent agenda?
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. We'll take questions, comments, and discussion on the consent agenda. All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. The consent agenda passes. That will bring us to item number 2 from the Administrator's Office. I'd like to welcome Al, his first Finance and Physical Resources Committee meeting as Administrator and Controller. So if you would please review the action request, Al, for item number 2.
Sure, yes, thank you, and glad to be here. Okay, so I think in more recent years, Kent County has adopted the October 1 fiscal year budgets separately, and we did combine them into one resolution this time, which is just another way to do it. And you see those on the action request. There's a total of $84,519,411, and that's for the Child Care Fund, KCCA Fund, Federal Projects Fund, State Projects Fund, and the Health Fund. So that is all of our October 1 spending, and of course it needs to be adopted soon so that it can all be keyed in for the budget prior to that time. And then the rest of your budgets come, I think it's on November 4th maybe, for the January 1 fiscal year. So I'm not sure what questions you might have, but we do.
Okay, moved and supported. We'll
I'm
take
supposed to wait for that one.
questions, comments, and discussion. All right. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. That brings us to item number 3, action request item 3 from Fiscal Services. Al, would you please read the action request for number 3?
Got it. Action requested, recommend to the Board of Commissioners to approve a public utility oops, I'm on the wrong one. Let's get to the right page.
Number 3 here.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Al,
Yeah, I'm getting there. I didn't know this read part, so I'll get there.
let us know when we can move it.
He hazes everyone, Mr. Vanderberg, so don't worry about it.
Right there.
We did that one. So it's the next one.
Agenda item.
All right. I forgot that part where I read it. That might be new.
That's
All right.
okay, I'm here for you.
Okay, recommend to the Board of Commissioners to approve a resolution authorizing the issuance, sale, and delivery of bonds not to exceed $70 million by the Kent County Hospital Finance Authority for Mary Free Bed Hospitals. And then
read these.
Mary Free Bed Hospitals requested that the Kent Hospital Finance Authority issue bonds and loan the proceeds to finance and refinance building and equipment capital expenditures and related costs of the hospital facilities located at 235 Wealthy Street Southeast, Grand Rapids, and pay capitalized interest and to pay the costs of issuing the bonds. The authority held a public hearing concerning the proposed bond issue on August 25, 2021, adopted an inducement resolution on August 31, 2021, and anticipates adopting a resolution authorizing issuance of bonds on behalf of Mary Free Bed Hospital on September 24, 2021. The resolution, if adopted, will approve the issuance, sale, and delivery of the bonds by the authority. The authorization granted by the county is solely for the purpose of complying with the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 as amended. This indebtedness will not constitute a general obligation or debt for the County of Kent. Bond Counsel has reviewed all documents.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
All right, moved and supported. We'll take questions, comments, and discussion. All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. That will bring us to item number 4. We have it from the Gerald R. Ford International Airport Authority. Al, would you please read the action request?
Yes. Recommend to the Board of Commissioners to authorize the issuance of Gerald R. Ford International Airport Authority Revenue Bonds, Series 2021. Summary, the authority is authorized under Act 95, Public Acts of Michigan, 2015, which permitted the county to form the authority to issue revenue bonds in accordance with Act 94, Public Acts of Michigan, 1933 as amended. The proposed resolution will authorize a bond issuance by the authority in an amount not to exceed $115 million of Series 2021 revenue bonds, approval of the authority's plan of financing as required by Section 147F of the IRS Code, Internal Revenue Code, for bonds issued to finance projects with private business use, the pledge of the county's limited tax full faith and credit on the bonds, the county treasurer to execute a certificate of the county to comply with the continuing disclosure, the county administrator and the chairperson of the Board of Commissioners to prepare and approve portions of the official statement that pertain to the county and the execution of all other documents as necessary in order to close on the issuance of the proposed bond issuance. The bond proceeds will be used to pay for the construction of 8 new gates on Concourse A. Staff anticipates closing on the bonds in October 2021. Bond counsel has reviewed all documents.
And before we take the motion to approve, just a note, prior to the meeting started, you should have a revised resolution. That is what you are motioning to approve. There was some additional legal language that was added. So with that, is there a motion to approve agenda item number 4?
So moved.
And supported?
Support.
All right, moved and supported, and now we will take questions, comments, and discussion. We'll start with Commissioner Wooden.
Thank you, Chair. If council could just describe a little bit, I've read through the track changes, but just describe what the edits themselves were.
Al, do you have a track change copy?
Yes, I do. There you go.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioner. These changes were recommended by the outside bond counsel, and they deal with requirements from the Internal Revenue Code. Okay. And so Chair Jones is right, it is some legalese that was required. It doesn't change the amount, the cap on the amount, or the fact that it comes through revenue bonds from the airport.
Thank you for the clarity. I didn't know if the legalese was additional legal protections or additional legal requirements, so I appreciate that.
Commissioner Sparks.
I have the same question.
Okay, Commissioner Bukowski.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, well, since this one has our indebtedness, we should probably ask a question or two, so I don't know. The main one is that third bullet point, that this says it will pay for the construction of 8 new gates. I mean, it's a little more than just 8 new gates, isn't it? Isn't this the project you all appropriately showed us in a cool way
We have
months ago
some
now?
airport representatives here this morning. They may come up to the podium and address the committee with some answers.
Morning, Commissioner Bukowski. Yes, this is number 1 of our Project Elevate that everyone came out to the airport back in August of 2019, if you recall. So this is the first part of that 3-part Project Elevate. And we are doing more than just gates. We're widening it, and there's a sky lounge up above it. FIS, Federal Inspection Station, that's part of Project Elevate, and obviously a new tower we've been working on as well. Updates on all that, I'll introduce Tori Richardson, our President and CEO. Tori.
Good morning, Tori. If you could speak into the mic for us, that would be great.
Yes, and thank you, Dan. Yes, Commissioner, this is going to more than triple the size of Concourse A. As our board president indicated, it will provide a lounge in the upper level, so it'll be 2 levels. But it will also provide additional passenger boarding bridges, the jetways that go out to the airplanes, the gate hold areas, additional concessions, food and beverage, additional seating for the passengers, and additional work areas for them to stay productive while they're waiting for their flights. It is a 30-year bond. It is refundable, tax exempt, $115 million, essentially a little bit smaller in terms of the financial ask as well as the scope than what we shared with you back in March of 2020 before we put that project on hold. But thankfully, we've got the airline support back at the table and finished in the design of it, and we're ready to kick that off. It's going to be a great new addition.
Yes, Commissioner Wooden. For your second question.
For my second and final question.
It is.
Just could you walk us through again those second and third phases, and will those come with a bond request in the future?
So that's a great question. Our board is committing to about $400 million of capital improvements over the next 5 years. This is the first step of that. There will be additional requests as we move forward. So additional phases to Project Elevate will be an additional baggage inspection facility. Also, we talked last time, a year ago, when we were down here making modifications for a consolidated rental car facility, as well as modifications to our public parking. Those projects will come back on as far as need goes, demand-driven, obviously. And then we also have an actual new parking garage north of the existing lot that will come online much further down the road. So probably in 2 to 3 years, we'll be looking for baggage inspection and a consolidated rental car facility, as well as those modifications to parking. But those are, again, demand-driven as they are needed to come back online. Keep in mind, these are roughly 2-year projects. So if we get started on Concourse A today, it'll be the end of 2023 before we have that online and ready to use. Great question.
Are you good, Commissioner Whitten? All right, Commissioner Morgan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Morning. So can you talk about a little bit about the stakeholders and that process? Because, you know, we teed this up and then we took it back and now we're teeing it up again, which really appreciate the fact that we're doing that. And I think everybody here understands the importance of this airport. But can you just talk a little bit about your stakeholders and that relationship that you have?
I'd be happy to do that. Thank you, Commissioner. It is a good question. Obviously, we did not want to come down, present this to you, and make this request without full backing of our airline partners, our stakeholders. So, you know, when we were ready to go in 2020, and then the pandemic hit, we had those conversations early with the airlines. Nobody knew what the future was going to look like. Nobody knew we were going to drop 97% of activity that following month, so everybody chose to put it on hold. But as we started to ramp back up, we're back into a pretty solid recovery right now at about 80% of 2019 levels. In fact, last month we shared with our board, we're at 97.5% of our 2019 levels. So very significant growth or recovery. And that's those conversations that we have with the stakeholders to say, okay, the same issues that were causing these challenges for us prior to the pandemic are coming back pretty strong. And again, it's going to take 2 years to fix it. So we all decided to get back at the table and start pushing this through. The consolidated rental car facility, obviously those stakeholders are the rental cars. They had a nice summer season, better than expected, but they're still not quite ready to talk about that consolidated rental car facility just because of the issue with the lack of fleet, not the ability to get the number of cars. There's just not that capacity constraint that we saw prior to the pandemic. But we're always in those conversations, engaged with those stakeholders to make sure that we're understanding their needs and the timing of those needs, and then obviously making sure that that's lined up before we come down and ask for your support and approval on projects like these. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for your consideration.
Seeing no other questions, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That will bring us to item number 5, which opens up the floor for public comment. Is there any public that would like to address the Finance and Physical Resources Committee this morning? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. That brings us to Commissioner Miscellaneous. Commissioner Morgan.
Hey, I get to go first.
Sure.
Is this on? Everybody hear me? Okay. I'd just like to welcome Al, AKA the Swamp Monster. It's good to work with you again, Al. I'm looking forward to it, and good luck. And we won't be so hard on you the next meeting, so as we get along. So, welcome, Al.
Thank you.
All right, we have a work session after this. Commissioner Brevi, did you want to address what time that will start and where that will be and what that topic is?
You know, it'll probably start right about 9 o'clock. We can have it right here at our desks. We'll see if other commissioners fill in the room. And we're going to be learning more about the Sustainable Business Park and the finalists that's been selected. And we'll move forward. And I would appreciate any questions that you guys have about the project. Dar's here and Kristen will be presenting. So we'll have some good information to share on an exciting project.
And again, with work sessions, no decisions are made. It's an information gathering opportunity for the entire board. Commissioner Womack, you have some miscellaneous this morning?
Yes, just happy to be in my first meeting with our new administrator and re-welcome him. And also just in honoring veterans, a Labor Day this weekend. We decided to go out and do some things with veterans, so we did a partnership with American Legion Post 179, Neil E. Fonger, and we're able to raise approximately $4,000 for them. And it's just going to be an annual event our community does for the veterans. We started on Labor Day, but next year we'll be doing it on during the Veterans Weekend. And just happy to be back here with my fellow commissioners.
Thank you, Commissioner Womack. Anyone else for Commissioner Miscellaneous this morning? All right, seeing none, do we take a motion to adjourn? I can just adjourn. I can adjourn. All right, we are adjourned. Our next meeting date is Tuesday, September 21st.
I am Kent County. I am Kent County.
I am Kent County.
We are 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 Kent County.
Bayard, Kent County. Ami, Kent County. Somos, Kent County.
Mas Ira, Kent County.
We are Kent County. We are Kent County. We are Kent County. Oh, yeah.